During the time of the Industrial Revolution, many people moved to the cities through the process of urbanization. Because of this rapid movement to small areas, living conditions of the people in cities were very poor. Compared to the large, comfortable houses in the countryside, the houses in the city were very cramped.
There were often big rooms for worker housing, and even poorer families were forced to sleep in the basements. The houses or tenements were dirty, crowded, badly ventilated, and dark. About 20 families shared a toilet and water pump.
Diseases spread easily because of bad sanitation. Some of these diseases included cholera, measles, and typhoid. Garbage filled the streets, and there were open sewers and polluted water sources.
There was no police at the time, so crime was rampant.
For example, Manchester was a city that grew very rapidly. The city was filled with bleak, crowded neighborhoods that contained tenements and houses. Tenements became used more commonly as urbanization continued. A tenement is a building where many families lived, cramped together. They were helpful to the city because they did not take up much space and they did not cost much. However, the life there was miserable. There were some rich or middle-class people in the city, but they were greatly outnumbered by the poor or working class. The wealthier people had much nicer houses than the poor, and they partook in many leisure activities. Their houses were large, beautiful, and very extravagant. The government began to notice the growing problem, but they did not help solve it in the best way. They created poorhouses by the power of the Poor Law of 1834.
The government made these places miserable with the separation of families, large amounts of work, and meager portions of food. They hoped that such horrible living conditions would encourage the poor to improve their social status without the help from the government.
Later on, the government started to help the poor more. The Society for Improving Dwellings of Laboring Classes in 1845 improved the conditions of lower rent buildings.
The first Public Health Act in 1848 did not do much to improve health conditions, but the Second Act in 1875 helped the conditions extremely. It regulated water supplies, drainage, and food sources. It also split the country into regions with medical officers who made sure the proper conditions were being met in their section.
Later in time, the Housing and Town Planning Act of 1909 required the local government to oversee the planning of towns.